In the quaint village of Borley, Essex, England, stood the Borley Rectory, a name that would become synonymous with one of the most enigmatic and discussed hauntings in history. Built in 1862 upon the foundations of an older church, the rectory was shadowed by a chilling legend rooted in its past. Whispered tales spoke of a tragic love affair between a monk from the medieval monastery that once stood there and a nun from a nearby convent. Their forbidden love was doomed, the monk was executed, and the nun met a horrific fate, fricked up alive within the convent walls. As the years rolled on, the rectory seemed to absorb the sorrow of its history. The first recorded paranormal events began in the early 1900s during the residence of Reverend Henry Bull and his family. They reported hearing inexplicable footsteps echoing through the house, as if the lovers were still wandering, searching for each other. Over time, the reports grew more unsettling. Visitors and residents spoke of a phantom carriage driven by headless horsemen, sightings of the ghostly nun, objects moving on their own, and mysterious sounds that filled the night air. The hauntings reached an unnerving crescendo in the 1930s with the arrival of Reverend Lionel Foister and his wife, Marianne. Their tenure at Borley Rectory was marked by an alarming increase in paranormal activity. Windows shattered without cause, servant bells rang without being touched, cryptic messages appeared on walls, and Marianne endured the terror of being thrown from her bed by unseen forces. The rectory seemed to be a focal point of unexplained phenomena, a vortex of spiritual unrest. The strange happenings at Borley Rectory caught the attention of Harry Price, a renowned paranormal investigator. Price's investigations at the rectory were extensive and controversial. He documented a wide array of paranormal occurrences, but his findings were met with as much skepticism as they were fascination. The debate over the authenticity of his reports and the true nature of the events at Borley Rectory fueled public intrigue. In 1939, an ominous turn of events saw Borley Rectory consumed by fire, sustaining severe damage. The origin of the fire was shrouded in mystery, with some speculating that it was the work of the restless spirits within. By 1944, the remains of the rectory were demolished, but the end of the physical building did not lay to rest the stories and theories that it had birthed. The legacy of Borley Rectory lives on, transcending its physical destruction. It remains a tantalizing and iconic story within the annals of the paranormal, inspiring numerous books, articles, and documentaries. The true nature of the events that occurred within its walls continues to be a subject of debate. Was Borley Rectory the site of genuine paranormal phenomena, or were the occurrences the result of hoaxes and misinterpretations? The mystery endures, securing Borley Rectory's place in the annals of the supernatural as a haunting tale of a location seemingly caught between this world and the next. In the tranquil suburb of Springfield, where life unfolded like the pages of a peaceful storybook, the Johnson family resided in their charming two-story house. Mark and Lisa Johnson, accompanied by their beloved children, Emily and Daniel, had cherished this place as their sanctuary for many years. The neighborhood exuded serenity, and daily life followed a comforting routine. However, their ordinary existence took a harrowing turn one fateful night in the early 1970s. The evening in question was a crisp autumn night as the Johnsons huddled in their cozy living room. The warmth of a crackling fireplace enveloped them as they shared stories and laughter. Then, out of nowhere, a deafening crash pierced the peaceful ambience, emanating from the kitchen. Startled, they hurriedly rushed to investigate, only to find shattered dishes strewn across the floor. The family stood there, baffled, unable to find any logical explanation for this inexplicable event. In the days that ensued, the Johnsons' lives spiraled into a surreal nightmare. Strange occurrences became increasingly frequent, causing their once cozy home to transform into a realm of inexplicable phenomena. Objects moved of their own volition, chairs toppled over without any apparent cause, and eerie whispers echoed through the hallways. Mark, in his desperate attempt to rationalize these unsettling events, blamed the house's aging foundation and the creaking floors. But deep down, he couldn't ignore the unsettling feeling that something was terribly wrong. As weeks passed, the disturbances escalated. Emily, once a peaceful sleeper, began waking up in the middle of the night, her tears born from the sensation of unseen hands tugging at her hair. Daniel, the youngest of the family, spoke of a menacing presence that lurked in the shadows of his room. Lisa, too, shared her fears, recounting terrifying encounters with a dark, lurking figure in the corner of their bedroom during the late hours of the night. Fear gripped the Johnson family, and it was abundantly clear that something paranormal had infiltrated their once tranquil home. With their lives spiraling into a state of disarray, the Johnsons turned to their neighbors and friends for advice. One name echoed through the hushed conversations: Samuel Brighton, a renowned paranormal investigator with a reputation for solving the most perplexing of mysteries. With their hope restored, the Johnsons contacted Brighton, who readily agreed to visit their home. One gloomy evening, Samuel Brighton arrived at the Johnsons' doorstep. He came equipped with an arsenal of cameras, recording devices, and a dedicated team of assistants. As they began setting up their equipment inside the house, an air of tension hung heavy, and the children clung to their parents for comfort. As the night descended, the investigators bore witness to the full extent of the paranormal activity. Furniture levitated eerily above the ground, disembodied voices filled the air, and unexplained cold spots sent shivers racing down their spines. Samuel Brighton and his team meticulously documented each bizarre occurrence, yet the source of these unsettling phenomena remained elusive, concealed in the shadows of the unexplained. Months rolled on, and the Johnsons' lives had transformed into a living nightmare. The relentless torment of the poltergeist had worn them down, both physically and emotionally. Their once happy family teetered on the brink of collapse, prompting them to seek the help of their local church. In response to their plea, Father Michael, a seasoned exorcist, agreed to visit the Johnsons' home. Armed with holy water and scriptures, he embarked on a series of rituals meant to cleanse the house of malevolent spirits. The rituals were intense, and the entire family participated, their hopes resting on the belief that it would bring an end to their nightmarish ordeal. The night of the exorcism was fraught with tension. Father Michael invoked powerful prayers and splashed holy water throughout the house. As his chants resonated through the air, the entity's malevolent presence surged in strength, causing the very walls to tremble and objects to fly across the room. Yet Father Michael stood unwavering, his faith resolute. With a final, resounding prayer, he expelled the malevolent entity from the Johnsons' home. The atmosphere transformed, a wave of calm washing over the family, allowing them to finally breathe easy once more. With the poltergeist banished, the Johnsons gradually began to rebuild their lives. The relentless nightmares faded away, and their home once again exuded a sense of tranquility. Though they never discovered the true nature of the entity that had tormented them for so long, they were grateful for the paranormal investigators and Father Michael, whose unwavering faith and determination had come to their aid. The Springfield poltergeist case would forever etch itself into the annals of history as one of the most perplexing and chilling paranormal incidents of the 1970s. It left an indelible mark on all who were involved, serving as a haunting reminder that there are forces in this world that defy explanation and remain beyond our understanding.